Good day, virtual learners. Welcome to another episode of Fun Learning Engagement. This is Valenzuela Live English 7. Stay tuned in and make sure that you have your module, pen, paper, or notebook, and make it a habit to write important details from our learning journey. And do not forget to type in your name, section, and school for your attendance in the comment box. Please be reminded also that you may write your answers on a piece of paper for every task or type them directly in the comment box. Today, we will be using the learning material prepared by Ms. Nova U. Gonzalez from Cetero Memorial National High School. Our main focus for this discussion is this most essential learning competency. Use phrases, clauses, and sentences appropriately and meaningfully. Specifically, we will differentiate phrase, clause, and sentence. We will identify types of phrases, clauses, and sentences. And we will construct a meaningful sentence about the current scenario in the society. And of course, my cat, Mutya, will be joining us again today. And we are very much excited for your active participation. Are you also excited, learners? Well, if yes, kindly hit the heart reaction at the bottom of your screen. Thank you, learners. Now, let's have your first challenge and find out how much you know. Mutya, bring it on. Read the following statement carefully and arrange the jumbled words to identify what is described by each statement. Let's have the first one. It is a textual unit consisting of a group of words that are linked to express a complete idea. What is your answer? First, it is very good. It's a sentence. Let's now have the second one. It is a group of words that stands together as a single grammatical unit but does not express a complete idea. Key in your answer, learners. It is a phrase. Good job, learners. Let's now have the last one. Refers to a group of words which includes a subject and a finite verb. What do you think is the answer, learners? It is a clause. Great job, learners. Now, let's dig in more on how much you are familiar with phrases, clauses, and sentences. Yeah? Let's now have your second challenge. Comment a smiling face with hearts emoji if the group of words presented is a sentence. Comment a winking face emoji if the group of words is a phrase. And a happy emoji if the group of words is a clause. Are you ready? Again. Number 1, the typhoon victims. What do you think is the answer, learners? It is a phrase. Very good. Let's have number 2. After Ulysses left the typhoon victim, key in your answer, learners. It is a clause. Nice job, learners. Let's now have number 3. After Ulysses had left, the typhoon victims remained flooded and homeless. What is your answer, learners? It is a sentence. Great job, learners. And because of that, here's your first star for today. Now, let's have a recap of the key points in your first 2 challenges. To begin with, a phrase is a group of words that does not contain both a subject, meaning a noun or a pronoun that performs the action, and a verb that tells what is the action. This is a group of words that cannot stand on its own. Just like the first group of words in your second challenge, the typhoon victim. On the other hand, a clause is typically contains at least a subject noun and a finite verb, just like the underlined group of words in your second challenge, after Ulysses' death. And a sentence is a collection of words that expresses a complete thought or idea, and it has a subject, a predicate, an object, and a modifier or modifiers. Take a look at the group of words in your challenge earlier. We have number 1, the typhoon victim. Number 2, after Ulysses left, the typhoon victim. And number 3, after Ulysses had left, the typhoon victims remained flooded and homeless. Notice how phrases and clauses were combined to form a sentence to express a complete and clear idea. It shows that phrases and clauses are important building blocks of a sentence. And to communicate well in English, it means you must have the ability to express yourself clearly. And in order to have such ability, it is not enough to just know the definition of those building blocks. We must know their types, functions, and use. So today, let us begin our learning discovery by knowing deeper phrases, clauses, and sentences. Let us now start, learners. A phrase is a group of words that stands together as a single grammatical unit, typically as part of a clause or a sentence. It cannot convey a complete thought. A phrase may be used in a sentence as a verb phrase, prepositional phrase, noun phrase, adverb phrase, or adjective phrase. Let's find out their function. A verb phrase consists of a verb and all its modifiers. Here are some examples. 1, he was disappointed when it didn't rain. 2, you might want the weather here. A prepositional begins with a preposition and can act as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Examples are, the bag was on the couch. 2, he was lost in the maze. A noun phrase consists of a noun and all its modifiers. Here are examples. Number 1, the new student was lost. Number 2, the public hospital had many COVID-19 cases. An adverb phrase is a group of words that functions as an adverb. It describes a verb, an adverb, or adjective. Examples are, I placed the donations right here under the table. 2. Food donations were delivered as quickly as possible to Cagayan. An adjective phrase is a group of words that describes a noun or a pronoun sentence. Examples are, number 1, with extreme determination, students are accomplishing their activity. 2. Coronavirus is from China. Now, let's try another challenge. Tell whether the underlined phrase is a noun phrase, a verb phrase, an adverb phrase, or an adjective phrase. You may comment your answer on the comment box or write it on a piece of paper. Let's now have number 1. Typhoon Ulysses left flooded areas around the metro. What is your answer, learners? It is very good. It is an adverb phrase. Number 2. The spotted dog was left behind during the typhoon. You may now type your answer. It is a noun phrase. Let's now have number 3. The typhoon that was very strong left people with nothing. What do you think is the answer, learner? It is an adjective phrase. Let's now have the last one. Many houses in Cagayan were washed up when the province was flooded. What do you think is the correct answer? It is a verb phrase. Good job, learners. Let's now have or discuss clauses. A clause is a group of words which includes a subject and finite verb. It contains only one subject and one verb. The subject can be mentioned or hidden, but the verb must be apparent. Clauses are of 2 types: independent and dependent clause. Independent clause function on its own to make a meaningful sentence and looks much like a regular sentence. Example, I want to go somewhere, but the pandemic forces me to stay. In this example, we have 2 independent clauses that express an idea. I want to go somewhere, and the pandemic forces me to stay. Example number 2, he went to the drugstore and bought some vitamins. In this example, we have the independent clause, he went to the drugstore. Dependent clause, also known as subordinating clause, function or cannot function on its own because it leaves an idea or thought unfinished. Alone, it cannot form a complete sentence. Example, when I was waiting for him, I had an accident. When we remove the group of words, when I was waiting for him, it will not express a complete thought. Sentence number two. I knew that man who stood there in front of the car. When we remove the words I knew that man and leave who stood there in front of the car, it will not express a complete idea thought. Subordinating conjunctions, just like when and who in the examples, are used in addition for dependent clause and independent clause to connect them in exchange position without any change in meaning. Examples of subordinating conjunctions that you can use are when I was waiting for you, I had an accident. Or two, I had an accident when I was waiting for him. We use the subordinating conjunction when. Other subordinating conjunctions that you can use are until, after, before, when, while, since, once, whenever, as long as, or by the time. Let's now try another challenge. Challenge number 4. I want you to label the underlined group of words and tell whether it is independent or dependent clause. Let's have number 1. After the strong typhoon hit the country, many families were affected and homeless. What kind of clause do you think are the underlined words? It is dependent clause. Good job, learners. Let's now have number 2. I was very happy when I received a distance learning kit from our SK Council. What kind of clause is I was very happy? Type in your answer, learners. It is good. Independent clause. Let's have number 3. We must never lose hope as long as we know God is guiding us every day. What clause is as long as we know? The correct answer? It's dependent clause. Very good, learners. Using phrases and clauses properly will help you construct sentences according to their function well. And since you did great, here is your second star. Great job, learners. Now, let's talk about sentences. When it comes to function of sentence, a sentence can be declarative, meaning a sentence that expresses or tells something about something. It can be interrogative, a sentence that asks questions and ends with a question mark. It may be imperative, a sentence that expresses a command or request. Or it can be exclamatory, sentence that expresses a strong emotion or feeling and usually ends with an exclamation point. And I know that you are very much familiar of these types of sentences. Now, let's have your next challenge. I want you to identify what type of sentences are the following. You may type in or write declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory for your answer. Here are the sentences. 1. What help will you give to the victims of the typhoon? 2. Oh my, the water inside our house is rising. Different organizations are working together to help the victims of Typhoon Ulysses. Number 4, please pray for the safety of everyone. And number 5, wear face mask and face shield when going to public places. You may now write or type in your answer. Let's now see if your answers are all correct. Let's now have the sentences. For number 1, the correct answer is interrogative. For number 2, it's exclamatory. For number 3, it's declarative. For number 4, it's an imperative. And for number 5, it's imperative also. Did you all get it correct? Great job, learners! Now let's have this final challenge. I want you to combine the following phrases or clauses and create and construct a meaningful sentence. Are you ready? Let's have number 1. Brigada Escuela. Teachers from different division participate in Marikina National High School. Arrange the following group of words and create a meaningful sentence. The correct answer is teachers from different division participated in Marikina National High School Brigada Escuela. Let's now have the second step. Has distributed distance learning kit to students, the SK Council of Valenzuela. What sentence can you form from these words? The correct answer? The SK Council of Valenzuela has distributed distance learning kit to students. Let's now have the last set of words. Many people were not prepared. It cost their daily living. Of the changes when the pandemic started. What meaningful sentence can you form from this group of words? The Correct answer? When the pandemic started, many people were not prepared of the changes it caused to their daily living. How is it, learners? Did you find it a little bit hard? Did you get correct answers? Well, if yes, good job. But if not, I still congratulate you for trying your best to construct a good sentence. All you need is more practice and more reading and understanding of phrases, clauses, and sentences. And for your active participation, I will give you an excellent job star. Congratulations, learners, for a job well done. We are now in our question and answer portion. I will give you again 2 minutes. Type your questions in the comment box and I will be glad to answer them all when I come back. You may now start and I will be back in a short while. And I'm back. Let me now answer some of the questions captured by our moderator. Our first question is from Venteriales National High School. The question is, aside from subordinating conjunctions, what words can we use to connect group of words to form a sentence? Well, we can use other logical connectors, such as coordinating conjunctions, transitional devices, or other prepositions. Actually, this topic will be discussed on our next learning engagement. Let's now have the second question. It's from Jenny De Leon National High School. The question is pay attention an imperative sentence? Oh, it's not. Pay attention is not an imperative sentence. It's more of a verb collocation. Okay, when we say verb collocation, it's a group of words that is usually put together that corresponds to a conventional way of saying things. So for instance, in your question, pay attention, it does not mean that you're going to give money to attention or you're going to pay money to attention, But instead, pay attention is a conventional way of saying be attentive. Verb collocation will be also included in the second part of our discussion about phrases, clauses, and so let's now have the third question. It's from Malanday National High School. Are there other building blocks of a sentence aside from phrases and clauses? Well, definitely the answer is yes. A sentence, depending on its structure or construction, has different building blocks. It may be composed of different parts of speech. It may be composed of figures of speech, collocations, other connectors, and many more. So it merely depends on the sentence construction and structure. So that will be the last question for today. As much as I wanted to answer all of your questions, but we have limited time. Now, for additional activities, in order to practice what you have learned for today, your teacher will guide you in answering the activities in your learning pocket for quarter 1, lesson 8, week 8. Your teacher will guide you on which activity you will answer in relation with the discussion for today. I hope you learned a lot, and thank you for joining me and Mutya for today's educational adventure. Remember, study hard not just for today, but for a better tomorrow. And that ends our learning journey. See you next time, learners. Keep safe, and this has been Valenzuela Live English 7.